guys, welcome back. Keith, Jesse, ProNoobRC. We're getting our butts back in gear to start working on Freddy's truck here. Freddy's getting a little cranky because his truck is not done yet. And yeah, it is time. We've got all our parts and pieces that we're waiting on. We kind of took on another build with that 1/6 scale Rock Hobbies Jeep there. That's a good fit. So yeah, we're waiting on our parts. We got our parts list in for this guy. We ordered through our good friends at Eliminator RC in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We got the Reefs RC 444, nice billet unit, gorgeous little servos. Check those out. If you haven't got yourself a Reefs yet, go get one. That's absolutely beautiful, little nice billet aluminum. 444 ounces at 7.4 volts. Will it take more? It will not take more. Sure it will. They're always modest over there. I picked up a Vanquish 25 spline 1 inch. Is it 1 inch? Yeah, that's a 1 inch. Yeah, 24 millimeter, just under 1 inch long. Servo horn to throw on there. No servo saver. I'm undecided if I'm going to run one yet. This servo should be strong enough. Worst case scenario is usually you just strip out the inside of the servo horn. We'll just replace that, but we'll see what happens from there. And I might try one of the ones from the LMT on there. So, Spectrum SPMSR 315 DSMR 3-channel sport surface receiver, and we're gonna go with the Castle Creations as we always like to do. Mamba X, and this is the censored 14 series 4-pull brushless system with the short course edition with the 5mm motor shaft on it, so a little bit bigger motor shaft. I don't know, apparently it's stronger, but I've never been to motor shaft, so I don't know. Nice little unit there. It comes with the essential wire, pre-soldered, bullet connectors, gorgeous as always, nice classic Castle green on it. I thought it'd be a longer can because of the 4-pull, but hey, that works for me. That's just, I guess, the older stuff. See that big 5mm shaft on it, big beefy. And what kV do we go on that one, Jesse?
Lots.
We went 3,800 kV. She's gonna have a lot of smoke on her. It's gonna be good and quick in it. So it comes with motor screws too, which is quite nice. So I know a while ago they didn't, and it's a pain in the butt to try to find them. Mamba X receiver comes with all your nice little driver's guide stuff that you just take the stickers out and throw it in the garbage and just go online and watch a video on how to program them. There's tons of them out there. We might do one day, but yeah, it's just easier to go find a video, bust it out, done. There we go. Beautiful unit. Nice billet, slate gray case on them. They look so darn good. One thing people complain about is this harness here that goes from their board to the sensor wire to the motor. Apparently there's an adapter or whatever, a plug that they make that goes right through, whatever. I've never had a problem with them. Some people have reported problems with them. I'm just letting you guys know what I know, what I've heard about them. So the nice thing about these units are this little guy here, you can hook up to an open spot on your receiver, which then you can pick in your programming, which you need to go out and buy. Castle Link Programmer. These are about 20-30 bucks wherever you are, something like that in your money. But 20-30 bucks. And with this, you can plug it into the USB on the computer, and then you could fully get into programming on this. You can turn this ESC from brushless to brush to different timing, different motor direction. Castle's got the most, well, I don't want to say the most, lots of haters out there, but Castle has an excellent selection of settings on their ESCs. Do anything you really want with them. So this one, we will, on the rock crawlers, we use this so we can control our drag brake on the radio. Depends on different terrain you're on. I like to be able to just turn the button up and down. I can have more or less drag brake for different situations, different styles which you're running. So we're not sure we'll use it on here. We can do 2 different modes and stuff like that. I'm gonna do some reading and then figure it out. We'll let you guys know when we get to there. So, and then we got the good stuff, the Vanquish billet aluminum stage 1 upgrade kit for the OG Axial SCX10. That's it, 10. No 0.2 or no 0.3. These come with the billet aluminum rear lockouts, front C-hubs, and front steering knuckles. Top of the front steering knuckles has the little bolt-on, your little bolt-on arm for your steering linkage hook into there. So you run either side, whatever you want to do like that. Very beautiful, nice pieces. So we have these in silver. We have them in black for the truck. Wife got me 2 different kits for Christmas. Absolutely awesome. We're going to go with the silver because the links that we picked up are already silver, so we're going to keep with the theme on that and run that. For the differentials, I wanted to run 100% locked. I have my other rig locked in the rear, open in the front. We're going to try this stuff out. It is 1 million weight silicone oil, super silicone oil, sorry, for diff. I like how they put that there, for diff. So you can see it's super thick. I don't even think it'll pour out. Yeah, it's just, it's like a heavy paste. So especially sitting down in the basement, it's cold, so we're gonna have to, like, yeah, scoop out chunks with a knife and load up the diffs on it. So I think there might be a 2 million weight. Traxxas might have a heavier one. I think Traxxas does make the Ultimate the heaviest one, but this is 1 million, so we're gonna go with that one. So we're gonna try that in the diffs and see what it feels having a little bit of openness in the rear and a little bit more tight in the front, because our other truck, King Sling, we got him locked up in the rear solid and wide open in the front. So as soon as you get into a little bit of trouble, he just gets stuck everywhere, right? So yeah, so okay, so we got these parts, and don't want to miss out on these beautiful little pieces. We got the VVD axles from Vanquish. Gorgeous units, these things. Big, beefy, beautiful. You got a nice little Vanquish logo sitting on there, and they're covered in something great. Yeah, beautiful units there. We get the Vanquish logo on them. Really beefy, stainless steel construction. If you break one, you give them a call, they're going to fix you up and get that fixed up for you. I've never broken one, and I've put them through some serious crap. Pinions, you got to make sure when you order your pinion, when you go with the 5mm motor shaft, you want to make sure you have a pinion with a 5mm hole in the middle. Don't try to drill out a pinion and stuff to make it work. It's hardened steel. You're going to end up getting a piece of chunk of metal in your eye. Just go order them, buy them. These are a 0.8 mod, 5mm, we're going to 16 and a 17. We're going to start with the 17. If something catches on fire, then we'll go to the 16 and replace whatever caught on fire. So that's like the best way to figure it out. We'll test it out. We'll keep an eye on temps first. Besides that, that goes over all our parts. Let's get this guy, knock the wheels off, pull the transmission out. One thing you'll see missing in this pile is the MIP Driveshaft. We're still waiting on those to come in. I'm hoping those land in the next week or so. The weather here in Canada is now dropping from -42 to -1 in the matter of like 3 days. So we can actually go outside and start messing around with these guys. We haven't taken our LMTs outside because, well, they break very easily. The differentials on them are made out of recycled glass or something. Because they shatter. If like guys are shattering them, doing wheelies where then it goes up and then hops back down onto the corner and the diff breaks in half on the rear. So 2 thumbs down on those right now. Allegedly, I called today because you can't buy a diff housing anywhere in the world. So I called them today to ask about diff housings, and they said they'll get back to me in the next couple days and let me know. So I'm really hoping they say, you know what, we're gonna fix this and just sit tight, we'll send you out some new diffs, because I've already bought a set of diffs for them, and I don't feel like doing that. I keep doing that every time I take it out. So we're just throw some more money into this guy, throw some beef tubes up in his axles, and we're probably just gonna machine our own. Jesse knows how to run a lathe, I have a lathe, so between those 2 things, we're just gonna probably cut our own beef tubes out of brass and throw them in there. Yeah, I think that would work just fine, eh? Yeah. So yeah, let's get the tires knocked off this big old girl. Let's remember, we gotta flip these around. Those were put on the wrong way in a hurry. Just a bunch of little things. How does it look? We got 2 different sway bars in there. The little bit, this one is completely stiff in the rear. The front's got a little bit of give to it, so What do you guys think? Should we put another Vanquish in the front so it's all black and matches and they're both equally stiff? Or am I on the right track leaving the front a little bit softer? I'm not too sure. We don't monster truck much, so throw us your input if you guys know, and we're gonna keep building. We can always go back and readdress that and swap that out after. So let's get this guy rolled over, start gutting this pig out. The last step to putting these on is replace your 2 or 4 screws, 2 sides that came, and then a couple little cap screws and clamps to kind of clamp them onto it. That helps it from the bearing trying to walk on here. These screws get loose in the plastic over time, and you'll end up with this housing rocking up and down. So Vanquish came out with this upgrade with these nice little stainless steel screws that you run directly through here. Put a nut on the bottom. And the cool design of all this is the way they've machined it is it will hold the nut for you.
No, it won't.
You better not now
No,
that I said that.
You're lying.
And if you grab the right driver, you can actually spit it into its new home. Look at that. See, holds the nut there. Crank her down, lock her in, back it off, loosen a little bit, put your stock hardware back in those 4 holes, and then tighten it up fully. That way it will seat itself and line itself up where it needs to be. Check out these Vanquish drivers. You guys don't have any yet, get yourself some of these. They are beautiful.
They're very nice.
They won't put the screws in any faster for you, but they definitely are nicer to work with. Nice and smooth. The bearing on the tip is just gorgeous. Cap. Yeah. We'll get demonetized if we say tip one more time today, so. And then cinch that guy down, and Robert is your mother's brother. That is in and done. Let's see if we can put the other side in here. And then we move on to the front end. Let's move on to front axle. I'm sure y'all seen this 10,000 times. This is an old kit, but Okay, so pretty much at this point, it's just like the same. Rip off your knuckles, pop off your dip case, pull out your axle shafts, and then take off your retainer bolts here. Bearing cap bolts. Open it up, put a big old chunk of doobies in there, and put it back together. And then we're gonna rip out the transmission, put that big sexy motor in there with 21,000 horsepower, 19,000 foot-pounds of torque. Ooh, foot-tons of torque. Is that a thing?
Yep.
Ooh, foot-tons.
You got some on you.
Oh, let that
yeah.
sink in there. Here, hold this. I'll be right back. See, I don't know if you guys have any of these SMT trucks. Like I said before, we got a couple of them. We got one done up in King Sling. We got one with Gravedigger with the 4-wheel steering and the dual sway bars. But we don't have one like this with the axle, the shocks on the axle and nothing on the links. That's what we wanted to build with this rig. So, actually, I'm wrong. King Sling we set up this way, but he doesn't have any sway bars in him because you got to take a loss when you do that. So this truck is going to be a build that we wanted to do for a long time. Those custom plates on there look killer. You can make those yourself at home really quickly. You can do that with a hacksaw, a file, you know, just whatever you got kicking around. When Jesse and I started doing this, we built a couple chassis with a vise and a hacksaw and a file. So we got better tools now. We got bandsaws, we got lathes, we got grinders, we got table saws, we've got other saws. Okay, so next step is to knock these bad boys out, and they won't come past these bearings, so you got to pull out these screws. I believe it is only one you need to pull out. I've been wrong once before, but usually that happens on Thursdays. Today's not Thursday, so. So you want to take your big old sexy CVDs from the boys at Vanquish Products, making some super fine products over there, and toss these in there. Obviously, short side on the short side, long side on the long side. Woo. Put your bearing back on first, and slide that bad boy in. You can make whatever sounds you want while you're putting it in, but they're not intending us to run an open differential. These are a crawler-specific part, so this is designed to slide into their big old bad boy locker. It slides right in the middle. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of like that other spool with the buggy outputs on it, but a little bit different. Replaces your hub in the middle. So these actually need to be trimmed down 3 millimeters each one, or else they don't fit. So that's going to kind of put us on hold right now with that. So I'm going to put the screw back in that hole and put the diff cover on because we're done in that part. And we can rip out the transmission, move on to something else, and we'll come back to the front end a little bit later on in this video. We just need to get outside and get in that big old sexy shop, turn it on. Like I said, it's been really cold for a little while, so I kind of put all of our outdoor build stuff on hold. We can't afford to heat the shop here. It's minus 42. I don't even know if you guys can imagine what that's like, but okay, so I'm going to throw my axles off to the side, and we are going to move on to yarding the transmission out of this piglet. And we can mount that motor. You guys forget how pretty that was? Dang nice. Jesse's already got that all lubed up and done. All we really got to do is drop a motor into that piglet. Not an engine, a motor. I mix it up from time to time, so you don't want to put your motor wires up close as you can towards the middle so we can keep them out of the way of everything else on the truck. And luckily for us, Castle has 6 motor screw positions on there. You can find the 2 that work for you the best and line them up. The screws for the motor are supplied in the kit. You do want to take your screw and your motor and line that up and make sure your thread is not sticking past the bottom of this black threaded mounting plate on the bottom. You can see here we're about 1 thread short of this black plate down here when the screw's all the way in. That way you're not going to push the motor in and damage whatever makes motors work.
Don't damage my motor.
Man, that's a big motor shaft.
We like big shafts here on ProNoobRC.
Do you have one with a bigger shaft?
Sir, I'm sorry, your shaft's not big enough.
Okay, so get that in, leave that nice and loose so you can still get some movement back and forth away from this, and heck, I don't even think I'm going to fit that 17 in here. Gotta get a 15 and a 17. Well, if we choose to run the 17 on here, I'm literally out of adjustment on my motor screws all the way over. I'm a little bit tighter than I like. I like to have a little bit of rocking in there, which I have actually none, but I could still slide the motor gear up and down, so it's, you know, it's not tight, but it's taut. So you don't Loctite the motor, and you can if you want to, but we don't, and you just make sure you Loctite the pinion gear because that will never stick. So like I said, I like to get a little bit of play in there. It's a little bit tight for my liking. It's going to be just a little bit more noisy than I'd like, but it is a monster truck. So yeah, it should wear in pretty quick too, but it's not bad. I do like a little bit less though, so only way I can get a little bit less is go with a smaller pinion. So that's a 17 on there. That is a pretty steep, with mod 8 or whatever it is, a pretty big. 17 and a mod 8 is a pretty substantial size gear drive to the primary to the secondary gear, whatever you want to call it, pinion to the spur, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, we can try it out. It's all we can do. Trial and error, test it out, kick the temperature gun, make sure nothing's on fire, and if it's running too hot, she's getting too hot, we'll shut her down and just we'll get a 15 here. Actually, it wasn't a 16, it was a 15. We'll throw that one on there next, but we like to try to go fast first because what ends up happening is we get comfortable with it. We're like, it works, let's just leave it alone, and we never get the full potential of the vehicle. It's best to push it to the maximum limits and then start pulling it back. That's why we have temperature guns and stuff like that, so you can keep track of what's going on, right? Check your motor. If your motor's running too hot, you're over revving the motor. If your ESC is running hot, you're overworking the ESC. So that's your kind of gamble back and forth with gearing. That's what I learned anyway over the years. Quick method to doing it. So just throw the boards to her and see what works in the end, right? So beautiful unit. We're gonna run some nice zip ties. We're gonna put some lume over this wire, make it all pretty so we can get that mounted into the truck. We're gonna throw that back in the truck. We need to go cut these axles down. You don't need to see that. We're gonna go to the bench grinder, grind that down so they match the lengths all the way around, and then we can put the front end back together. We will catch you guys back here a little bit later on.
What are we doing?
Oh, it's in. We're soldering with our oldest tool in house, the old Weller from the 50s. This guy I like to use for battery connections. It's just unadulterated, vulgar display of horsepower. I usually weld with that too.
Wasn't that just what it is?
It's a welder, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go outside. We're gonna knock these down. That 4mm difference in there, like we just shown you, it was out. We're gonna go knock that down so we can put the front end of this truck together. In the meantime, I am gonna come up with an option. The ESC. I kind of want to side mount the boil. Excuse me. Kind of right over here. I found a nice spot for it, messing around with it last night. It should tuck right there. Whoop. It sits kind of on the edge of this plate that they have for it, and then tucks in behind, sits on the edge of the radio tray, and kind of nuzzles up here in between the frame. I might just shoe glue it in. Simple enough. I was thinking about building a floor plate to go through there, but ultimately, what's the point? It gives us more of an option also to get Frederick, the entertainer, in there. Gives us more room in the middle. Freddie, you're still gonna have to lose your legs there, dude. Boom. So that gives us room to put Freddie in the middle. I guess we could just put Freddy right on top of the ESC, but I don't think that's a great idea. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Oh, his head's sticking out the roof. Okay, first thing up, let's get this motor and transmission. A beautiful piece of work in there. Make things simpler, I'm going to hook up the sensor wire first. Get that hooked up and make my life a little bit easier down the road. Just want to make sure you get that pushed in nice and straight. I like to secure my wire to one of my motor wires so I can still make sense of which ones they are when you're routing it, because they're not marked on the end of the cable. Some are color coded like Traxxas and whatnot. Castle's just black. So I'm going to push the heat shrink down, get as close as I can to the bottom, protect those wires close as I can like that. Nice and tight, nice and close fit. Looking good. Cinch that guy in there, boom. So now I'm happy with that. It's secure, it's not going to get caught and ripped off on anything. Last thing you want to do is yank out your sensor wire. So, nice and clean. There's no stress on the joint. You can see the wires aren't pulled flat tight up against there. You don't want to have that. They're just come out and do a nice little 90. You are going to want to Loctite this guy in now because he's aluminum connection. Picked up the MIP Driveshaft for today from Eliminator RC in Winnipeg. We had them on order for a little while, and we got them in. So we also picked up a Servo saver. I was talking about running raw dog, just straight direct drive, but I kind of didn't mind the style of the Servo saver that came on the new Losi Monster Trucks. Threw in the garbage. So they use the almost like a truggy style one. That's part number Losi LOS 241037, and this is a 25 spline one that will go onto the Reefs. The Spectrum one that comes in the LMT is a 23. So just make sure you are checking your spline count before you order one of these in. And you know what? It's been holding up great on the LMTs. We got, as you guys know, Gravedigger and Son of a Digger. We haven't had Son of a Digger out yet. We've only had Gravedigger out so far, and loving him, of course. So yeah, so pretty stoked. You got the drive shafts in. They look pretty short, but apparently not. I guess because you add the... Yeah, okay. Let's toss these drive shafts in there. Jesse's back. How'd it go?
Fantastic.
Ooh-wee. Oh, that looks awesome, too. They even got some coloring in them. Which camera wants to see? Camera 1, camera 2? Camera 1, camera 2? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know why I did that. Just in time, Jesse, we're building some MIP drive shafts. Moore's Imperial Products? Is that MIP? Moore's Imperial Products? Something like that? Moore's Ideal Products. Great guy. He's been making stuff for a long time. I ain't never had no problem with none of his stuff.
Tough.
I might have blown up some drive shafts, but they've got like 500,000 kilometers on them. The only complaint I'm seeing with these drive shafts here are the main pins that will go through and drive, like on my transmission. They didn't supply a grub screw with a pin. They just gave you a grub screw to put in the hole. Luckily, we have a ticket trunk full of parts. We'll just grab our own and make it right. Okay, put these bad boys in. Take this feller, line that hole up with this slot here, put that guy in there. Take this guy, so line that guy up first, put that guy over, put your pin through, but you want to look on the pin. There's a flat side. You want to make sure the flat side is turned towards the side the grub is coming in from. Roll it on its side like that, and then you can set your grub screw down into the hole. It's the short, fat ones that don't have the tail on them that go down in there. Really hard to see on the crap drawing they've given. There we go, it feels better. There you go. Rinse and repeat 4 times, and then you can throw those on the truck. When you put these drive shafts together, you want to make sure you have a short end and a long end of the outdrive part like that. So you don't want to put both your longs on one end and both your shorts on the other, else you'll have a problem fitting them on there. So, and just give everything a test fit. Make sure you're going to be able to get everything on without having to pull an axle out. And we got more than enough room. Everything will be fine. You do want to make sure the pin. There. See how we went through? The pin and pin are lined up. You want to make sure your pins are lined up on your shafts. A lot of guys just slot these together, and as you've seen, I had to cruise through a couple of the different holes because they only go one way. If I take it out and try to turn it over 90 and put it back in and line up that pin, I'm going to be off one tooth that way, one tooth that way, you can see. So if we take it out, go right over 90 and put it in, you can see they're right on the money. So make sure you get that right. It gives you 2 little spacers. They apparently go on the transmission. I don't know. I'm going to throw one on, try it out.
Now, is there a specific shaft that goes from transmission to diff, or the other way around? Like,
for this way?
Yeah.
No. Preference really, in rock crawling, I wouldn't have this catch. I would have the fat end on the bottom and the big end here. But in monster trucking and just for scale, I'm going to put the small end on the bottom just so it looks good.
Yeah.
But in rock crawling, yes, it matters to me. Well, that just fixes all my problems then too, because now theirs are nice and tight up top. Those are nice and tight down there. Let's get these shafts in, get this front end hung on this thing. Oh, it's so pretty. Make sure before you get too far ahead, your C-hubs and everything's going to fit over top of those. Aha, see?
Put that on first.
Yep. Big boy stuff.
Big boy.
And make sure you get your caster down. On this truck, we're going to go 0, were we not?
Yeah. Put it back a bit or forward a bit.
It's either back a bit or forward a bit, yeah. Or forward a lot of it. You know what it is though, eh? We actually got to clock these axles back to that other second hole there. Axles rock forward a little bit. So if we clock forward a little bit, or put what we're calling center here, once I bring that axle back to that second set of holes, that's going to square up that axle to the ground. So yeah, let's put it in there. Because that gives us... That's 90 degrees to the diff. You can see it's 90 degrees to the differential through there. So yeah. Right now, if you sit in level, everything's a little cocked forward and there's a little clock backwards. So
Ready, flock it back?
Right here.
Ah.
Move this screw back. Just, yeah, 10 seconds. It would be nice if Vanquish would have made these C-hubs clampable style like the rear, because these splines in the front get slopped out just like the rear did. So it'd be cool if they would have did this over with a pinch just like that, slid it on, clamped it, put 2 screws in it, sent it perma part, you know what I mean? Something you don't have to worry about replacing. But at the end of the day, the axle housing is like $8, but buy them up. Things are changing. Axial ain't Axial no more. Axial's now Viterra, or Horizon Hobbies is Axial now, right? And man, try to find a 10.2, I dare you. The screw is pushing the axle out as I turned it in. So that means it's gonna rub on that axle. Okay, that's done. Let's get these sexy, sexy little knuckles banged out and built. First thing we gotta do is gut our factory knuckles, because they've got the bearings and the little metal bushings that we need to go between the C-hub and knuckle. So we finally got some good weather here. We're gonna get these trucks out on the weekend and get some good footage in. We'll get Gravedigger and this guy out, and maybe King Sling and my other Gravedigger. I still haven't fired up Son of a Digger yet. That's kind of my... I wanted to buy one truck to drive and one truck to just go nuts and just build right out. So I'm waiting for some aftermarket support to actually come out for those trucks so I can actually start building it. There's a trio axles and such like that. Not too sure if we're going to go that far on them. And right now, quite frankly, we can't even get any trio parts up here. You guys are so hot for them. As soon as they get posted anywhere for sale, they get got. So the stock knuckle has what they call 8 degrees of kingpin inclination KPI, which from this point to this point you could see that it's not vertically straight like this. It's like that on the angle. If this is 90 through here, this is at 8 degrees off center, off 90, to give you KPI with 8 degrees kingpin inclination for your kingpin type of steering. This just gives you, when you're turning, it keeps your tire a little more upright into the corner, kind of turns with the bottom edge into the corner, where if you were 0 degrees like all the old crawlers and the original SCX10 was, when you turn like this, your tires would actually roll out at the top, and then you'd push the traction underneath instead of pushing in at the bottom. So everybody's pretty much gone to this now. Pretty much everybody. I really can't think of anybody off the top of my head that's not using it. But yeah, that was a cool upgrade they came out with on Vanquish. Was actually the first ones to drop that on the SCX10 OG1. There was this upgrade you could buy and put it onto the stage 1, which then gave you that. The factory was 0 degrees, was it not?
I can't even remember. I
can't remember either. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure factory was 0 degrees. Because these are definitely the Wraith knuckles, and the Wraith got it, but the OG didn't. So if you hear people talking about KPI, kingpin inclination, that's all it is. Take your wheel hub out, take your pin out, throw that guy away. Recover your bearings nicely. And then reload. He goes onto there. These little bushings here, real pain in the butt. You have to put them in from the inside. Little trick is that, little trick for that is take a little bit of your marine grease, put it onto there, and then when you set it in the hole, it will stick. I'm pretty sure we covered this in the Monster Truck part of the build. That's why these things are full of grease. I just want to show you guys again. So now as you're working with it, you're moving around, you're fumbling it around, they're going to stay put and they're going to stay in their home. The grease acts like almost like a glue. So not a glue, but you know what I mean. It just gives it that gription. Gription. You just want to make sure these are not marked left or right. I know these bad boys are left and right from the angle of this. You can see it's a little bit thicker here, a little bit thinner there, yada yada yada. And they're marked 1 and 2. I believe they were marked L and R on the original, but this is an SMT builder's kit, so I can't remember. They do give you stainless steel screws to put to replace the black steel hardware that comes with it, but just let you guys know, black steel is a lot stronger than stainless. Double check they're the same length. They're the same length. We are going to put the black steel back in. That is not a point on the truck you want to have a weak spot like a stainless screw. So let's get that taken care of right now. Okay, I know how exciting this is for you guys. We're going to quickly push these links back to that hole, clock this pig back. We're going to set the other side on. We got these little arms that come with the part. They mount right here on top, and we're going to hook up the linkages. We'll jump back in when we get there. You guys don't want to sit here and watch us put this around, so we'll bring it back. Okay, Jesse wrapped up tossing the knuckles in and the little steering arm you attach on the top of the knuckle, and then he reclocked the diff. For him to clock the diff by moving the screws back to the second set of holes, he had to cut off a little bit of plastic in behind to fit that in. I decided to try to mount this servo on these isolators, rubber isolator with that brass bushing that goes through the middle to actually just try it out. Might take up some of the abuse on the servo. I'm not too worried about it. If it's trash, we'll just go get another one, but I want to try it out, see if it helps. I'm sure it will. If the truck feels too mushy in the steering, then we'll get rid of it, but I don't think it'd be an issue. It's still really tight. It just gives it a little bit of shock isolation, so. Let's grab one of our Losi Servo Savers LOS 241037. That's LOS 241037. 037. I didn't memorize it. There's one sitting off camera I can see. Okay, 0 instructions, but that's blind. So that's going to go onto the horn there, right onto the bottom end, and you're going to use your screw that's on the existing on the Reefs and put that in place. I got an alternate black steel screw. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to swap out that stainless steel for black steel because it is just a better bite. You do just want to run this in, make sure you're not going to get denied. We're getting denied on that one, so I need to find a shorter one. For the sake of saving time, we're going to fire this one into the darn thing just to get it rolling here. It's a little dude. I don't think I have any kicking around that size right now without sitting there digging for half an hour. We just kind of want to get some progress on this bad boy. We'll come back in, change this out down the road, and I dumped it on my chip. Okay, super simple. Splatter on the shaft, set that guy down there. Take your screw down the barrel, run them in. Very cool design. If you notice on the outside there's a hex, so you can hold that with a set of pliers and really get a good cinch down on that. There we go. Nice and sturdy. Next time you guys are cruising the interwebs, pick yourself up one of these little servo testers. We got this bad boy for like $8 or something like that from one of our local guys, Mr. J Mag's good guy. Basically just plug it in, hook up power from one of your balance leads from one of your other batteries on it. You'll get a blinking light. You can go neutral, which lets me know it's center, or you can go manual. You can just make sure you can see how things are traveling. And or you can go automation, which will just run it full cycle left and right, so you can make sure everything's traveling on your junk. So we're going to set today to neutral, make sure it is center, drop down the middle, and then we can disconnect it, put this guy over there. I love that guy because before you would have to wait till you had the radio and ESC and everything all powered up before you can get this step done, so very cool. This dude here, so there is a method to this madness. We're learning here, we're learning, see that? You gotta make sure you have a point to the top on this barrel, not just a flat spot, the guy put it. So we know this goes like this. This bad boy sits in the valley like that. So you can see there, you wanna have a point to the very top. So when this barrel goes onto here, you want to make sure you get a point to the very top. You might have to rotate it a couple times. Find it, that's looking pretty good. Hook up the servo tester, make sure nothing got moved. Nothing worse than doing things multiple times. So then now that we know how it goes together, throw that down there and check. Yeah, it's pretty close. We got a good radio, so we can hum that in with some tuning on the radio. So we can put that in, we can call that. And you're done. Stainless, you want to go easy on that, but you know, toy. Just got a spot in the back so you can sink a nut into there. So when you put it together, it's kind of nice. It'll hold in place for you. Slap that in. Then your spring. Then this little guy. This guy's spring here first. You're going to want to take the spring. You're going to bite him a few times in a pair of pliers. That's going to squish him down a little bit, so you can actually get that started. It's something that there's no instructions, so little things like that will help you out. You don't need to Loctite this because the spring is holding tension against the thread, so it won't come out on you. But when you are tightening this, you want to make sure you're holding your main housing so you don't put any undue wanted stress on your servo. Then unfortunately you got to grab this, turn it with a pair of pliers about 180 degrees after you get it finger tight. So there we go. So unplug that. I shouldn't have power in servo while I'm doing this. That's my mistake. Don't do that. Unplug your servo first. Just burn her up like this. So. Okay, that's about as tight as we're going to need it. It's nice. You can see there it clears. So no problem there. Link runs through here. Sits on the bottom. That guy rides on top. It's going to be a beautiful relationship working together. Losi part number LOS 241037. We're going to be running these guys on a lot of things. That's a very nice way to get a servo saver done. It's not all plastic. It's half plastic, half metal. Now, with that being said, China's going to be all over this in the next couple months. You're going to find these pieces showing up in billet and all that good stuff. Well, Chinesium, not really billet, but Chinesium. The junk that they sell us, they call billet. Weighs next to nothing. Snap. Okay, right on. So pretty much at this point, I need to find the seals for the radio box, plumb the wires into it, mount my ESC where we talked, and pretty much throw the wheels on it. She's ready to go outside and mess around. So let me go grab some. Okay, so just doing a little playing around with the with the placement of my ESC. I don't have my scale kicking around. I think I left it out in the shop when I was sanding a set of weights down to balance them out for a set of clutches for a quad. One thing I was going to do was throw this in. The motor's on that side, so I'm thinking right away I'm going to put it onto this side to kind of balance out the weight. But as soon as I picked up the truck, you can see it's leaning over to the driver's side pretty good. So when you jump it, it's naturally going to want to go crooked and land funny like that. You want to get your weight balanced best you can. Wasn't thinking both differentials are on the opposite side of the truck than the motor. So if you put your ESC onto this side here and you pick up the truck, it's balanced. So it's going to fly through the air better, it's going to wheelie better, it's going to do everything better because it's going to have less pressure on these wheels. It's more balanced weight. So little things to pay attention to when you're building them. Just something so simple as a couple of ounces like that throws the truck way off. You can see it's leaning that way. Not really the best way to do it, but very simple. So like I said, we were going to build a plate and make it all fancy, but I think I'm just going to, it fits in really nice and snug. Just a couple dabs of shoe goo on the bottom and the back corner, a little bit on the side. That's a good amount as far as I'm concerned. Normally I'd like to build a plate or something like that, but keep it simple, right? Just tag it in there. Bob's your uncle, Robert's your mother's brother, however you want to look at it. So let's do that right now. Okay, we got the 4 points of contact that I wanted in there for this guy. Let's throw them in there. If we're not happy, we can come back, make some changes down the road, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be good. Just make sure you don't drag all your wires through your fresh shoe goo. Keep it clean. Make it nice and straight. Fits better on the other side, but hey, it's in. We got contact here, here, here. Let that cure up. We're laughing. I've ran the motor wires underneath. There we go. Sorry, I should work from this side, you guys. My apologies. There we go. So we got our fire wire or our sensor wire. I don't know why I call it fire wire. I'm just weird. So you want to take your motor wires, starting with, let's go with C. It's right here. I like to go one at a time on the route that I'm going to go, and then directly plug it in. And I still make mistakes, so. So C, over here, plug them into C, obviously. And then rinse and repeat. You can go through and mark them ahead of time if you want, but I just like to just keep flowing along and just get it done, right? So make sure we're not going to trap any wires. Quit yanking that ESC out. And this will be B. And obviously the last one will be A. So we've got 2 out of 3 situated, figured out there. I'm just gonna let this shoe glue cure up on this ESC, and then I'm gonna go back and finish. One thing is, wherever you mount your ESC, you want to make sure you have some length to get to your battery box. That's a nice feature, to plug your battery without having to extend them. I know the factory ESC was here, and on the Gravedigger, I like to just leave the back open. I just extended this so I could reach in and plug it, throw the wire back in. So, being lazy, you know. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry up. We'll come back and check on this when that's dry. Finish wiring that up, clean it up, get it running. Okay, just wanted to show you how we are throwing the wheelie bar on the back. Remember, we cut those nice big old plates on the back, and we had some talk about putting them on the outside, but because there's a bit of a taper between this mount here and this mount here, I hope you guys can see that there. It's not really straight, it's kind of curved out. I had to run a spacer in there. So I actually found, and this is actually more secure too, double shear and everything better, just better. Pulling out the screw that goes through there, measuring out 3mm for the thickness of the plate, cutting that with the razor saw, and then we can put our plate through there and then bolt 2 screws in, there and there. Another thing I want to show you guys, you want to run a big 5000 3S battery, even the one from Horizon Hobby here, the Dynamite one. It won't fit in that battery tray. You're gonna have to use Velcro, or you can do what I've done here is I use that Canfall wire stuff you get from vaping. I just put the battery in, push down on here, heat up the wire, melt it into the plastic, cut it off. That's about the best way to get it done. I've done it in about 4 or 5 trucks now. It's secure, it's in, still keeps the battery function nice. Pop the pin, slide the battery out, no straps or nothing you gotta mess with, because it's pretty tight in here with this cage, right? So yeah, pretty cool. I'm gonna chop that out, and we're gonna throw that in. Perfect. I just gotta clean up that cut. Apparently I cut that a little bit crooked. I was just rushing it for the camera, but there's the idea there. We're gonna fix that gap there, but we're gonna put a longer bolt, pinch it right through there, another bolt from this side and this side, or a screw, and that's gonna be crazy stiff. You could stand the truck up on that all day long. And then for the back of the rollers, we got this carpet roller spiky deal. We're only gonna put a couple of them there, probably 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle, kind of go with the Freddy theme on it. I do need to go pick up a bolt, 1/4 inch by like 3 inch or whatever, and so I can get that taken care of. So we can't get that in until I go pick up a bolt, but we're gonna also take these out. The rollers in the middle will go from white to black, and we'll probably paint these white and put some red tips on them, make them look pretty cool. Throw them on the back there, and that'll give some kind of nightmare theme to it. So yeah, I'm gonna clean that up so that plate actually sits flat, because that's a horrible cut I did there, and get some longer bolts, get these pinched in there, and we can move on to hopefully this ESC's dry. It's getting there. Clean up the wiring and throw the tires on it. Almost there, guys. Almost there. There we go. Just taking a test fit with the wheelie bar. It looks really long, but this is a fairly long body out the rear. So we left some room underneath before the bend so we can run shorter wheelbase bodies on it. So we didn't trump ourselves with that one and screw ourselves over. So yeah, it looks pretty good actually sticking out there. And there's just enough room for the rollers to spin without hitting the body. I'm sure with a couple hits they'll bend up and hit, but it's pretty thick. It's 3mm. I did put another hole down here so I could put a standoff and another brace running between there to kind of stiffen it up and keep it nice and straight. So I'm going to find a old link or something that fits between there and get that thrown in there, one of the old AXIAL ones that can run screws into the end. And yeah, looking pretty good, looking pretty sharp. Just got to put a steering link on the front, clean up the wiring, bind the radio, send it, We're almost there. I'm going to clean up the wiring on it right now. We got to get that bolt for that rear roller. I'll get that tomorrow, and we should have this guy out rolling around by the weekend, get some video with the LMTs. It's going to be great. Hey, what's going on, guys? Okay, we thought we were going to get this wrapped up yesterday on the build. Luckily, with power editing, it's all going to be in one video. I needed to go out and get some bushings. We were having some trouble using the stock steel bushings in these Vanquish parts. I don't recall in the past if I had the issue or if it's a new issue, but anyway, we went and got these sexy old Vanquish brass bits for her here. That's a bushing that goes between the C-hub and the knuckle, and that is Vanquish part number VPS07510. So yeah, it turned out some of these factory bushings were, you can see that one, but anyway, the end of it's all mushed in. You're not going to be able to see that. Camera don't like doing small things like that, but the end's all mushed, and it's far too short. It's only about 4 millimeters tall, and these guys are about 3 millimeters longer than that. So I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, oh, I don't remember, do I leave it loose a little? But I was like, that doesn't feel right. So I was like, no, hang on a second. I built enough of these trucks, we know better. There's something wrong here. I looked into the bushings, and yeah, factory, they were no good. So, and these were like 10 bucks, so, and yeah, much better part. So let's get these guys in there. We've already got the knuckle knocked off this side. Yeah, some of them were fine, like this one here was totally fine. Others, like this guy's great, but one of them was just hella binding. And that was causing a lot of problems. You get your new build all bound up, it's no fun, so we want to make sure this guy works good. So just precautionary, we're going to swap all of them out to the Vanquish bushing, brass bushing, sorry. And then like we're like done. I programmed the ESC. We hooked up the third channel to the fire wire on the ESC, which I don't know why I'm calling that, but this other trigger wire, whatever, or wire that you can do different functions. We programmed the ESC for that to control the drag brake, and then I gave the truck 60% of drag brake, which then with this I could control on whatever button I set it up to how much drag brake it's going to have on. I can turn it off, I can put on just a little bit so I can, you know, let off, and she just starts to lurch, kind of gets on the brakes just a little bit on its own, so that's kind of cool. I know in like the rear wheel drive drift car world, we use a little bit of throttle trim forward, sorry, and that helps. So when you let off the when you hit the brake, you go into a slide and you let off the brake, it doesn't keep sliding. The wheels start turning forward a little bit, and then you can get back on the throttle a little bit smoother. So little things like that, right? So okay, so yeah, I've already popped this side off here. So same thing there. We're just changing out the bushings, pop them on there, do that on both sides, throw our steering links on, and this guy's pretty much gonna be done. Remember, we swapped these out to the black steel screw. I don't like running the stainless in there. Now that's just preference. I haven't had an issue with it, but that is a preference to me. Stainless is a softer material. A lot of people think it's, oh, it's an upgrade, and I'm like, no bro, it's softer. The head strips out easier, and the bolt breaks easier, so, oh, look at that. You get it nice and tight, no binding. That's how it should be both sides. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that, like silk. Even the factory ones did not move that nice at all. So we're gonna rinse and repeat on this side, get that guy done, and we'll flip this other side camera on here, get some more shots, back this camera up a little bit so we can see what we're doing. I'll button up this front end and pull the tires on it, hook the radio up, and pull trig. Let me get this other side done. You guys don't want to see that. We just did one, or get this side done. Look at that, it was a butter. Yeah, so let me get this done. We'll flip this camera around, get this other camera here rolling. Okay, look at that, boom, boom, looking good. Yeah, we got her sitting pretty. Man, this thing is awesome. I really like this truck. Vanquish Stage 1 kit mounted front and rear. We forgot to actually order the STRC upgraded rear axle shafts. We're gonna run the stocks till they blow. Remember, we are running open diffs on this guy, so I'm not too worried about twisting a shaft off. We got the MIP Driveshafts, Vanquish transmission, Castle motor, Reefs RC front, Vanquish RC anti-rock, Casey Curry sway bars on the rear, King shocks on it, Losi Servo saver, Reefs RC Servo, Mamba X, and Freddy Krueger. Pretty sure. Oh, and Axial. Let's not forget the Axial part. There's some parts in your Axial. I think the chassis is Axial. Yep. Not much Axial left in this bad boy at all. The chassis and the housings. Everything else is Vanquish or all those other people we just listed there. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of everybody's. We got her balanced out. We showed you how to do that. We got the ESC mounted over here. We got that program. A little bit of drag brake. We can control the level of drag brake with whoop, that little wire there. You hooked it up to whoop, channel 3, and then you whoop, 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 and you can go more or less. We only set the maximum amount to 60% because we don't need a lot on a monster truck. So we're only going to play probably about 5-10%. Just when you let off the gas, she lurches forward just a little bit, so it almost starts kind of transferring the weight. And then if you get on the brake, it'll just kind of keep bouncing the weight down in the front more. You don't want it to just come off and the truck's coasting, and then you got to get on the brake and then back on the gas. It gets really upset. So it's nice if it transfers into that lean and then you get back on it. That's my theory anyway. I could be wrong on that, but that's just how I feel about it. So the wheelie bar, remember we did this with the drop here on the back, so we can do different bodies on it. We can run a short body, we can run a long body. This body falls in right. Well, we designed the wheelie bar for the truck, so it just tucks out right there perfectly like that. Truck will stand up on the wheels. With the big tires on it, she'll stand up almost to 90 degrees with the big boots on it. Still not quite go over. Probably get the ride on that wheelie bar a little bit, but hey, we'll find out in a few minutes. We're gonna get the wheels on this guy, put the electronics, just plug everything in, and pretty much at this time, I think it's time to go pretty much outside. We made this body fit too well around the back cage. Usually never a problem, but it's kind of an issue on this guy here. So the bottom of these King springs, the bottom little boot guy can come off pretty easy, so you want to put a little bit of shoe goo down there. Or these ones, oh no, hang on, yeah, no, these ones are, some of them are, see, it just pops off. They're pretty easy. So what we're going to do is lift that up, clean it off, and put a little bit of shoe goo in there so we don't lose this bottom cup. They can get popped off bouncing around and stuff like that, and they're tough to find. So, okay, well, it turns out that entire box that we bought off Amazon, they were mislabeled backwards from each other. So now this one says battery and this one says battery, and they go together. So that's why they were crazy cheap on sale. Watch for that going forward. It's an easy fix. Just make sure you got your pins going the right way. Okay, so we got that hooked up. ESC's on, everything's plugged in, ready to buck, ready is turned on. We're gonna bring this guy over to the bind menu. Bind right there. So when I turn the switch on, I need to hold the button down on the front. You got that little logo on the front. You press this logo in, turn this on. It starts flashing like that. And then you hit bind on here. Done. That was so easy. So now he resets, finds himself, turns the receiver back on. These servos are so quiet.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Like you can't even hear it. So smooth.
So used to the
yeah, what? Who? Ha! Rob Riggle. Okay, so Mamba X. Make sure it's going forward. Reverse, we're going to go in and show you how to set up auxiliary 1 so we can change out that drag brake that's on there. It's going to sound a little bit tight because remember these front bolts are rubbing on the axle shafts and it needs to wear in. I'm sure there's a better solution for it, but hey, we're just going to let it wear in. Everything's working good. So what you want to do on these guys here is first turn off your Mamba X. Hold this bad boy full throttle. You see that? Full throttle. Turn this guy back on. Wait for it. After that tone, go full reverse. Hold it. After that tone, let go. Wait for it. Now it's ready to go. That's how you set your endpoint adjustments on Castle. That's easy cheesy. Remember, we're a little bit tighter on that gear mesh than I want it to be. So we're gonna pick up a little bit of noise out of there until unfortunately it just saws its way into that tooth. That's the biggest gear we can get on this guy. So Axial's got really low final drive in the transmission and the axles, so even with the bigger pinion on it, I still might have to now start stepping down the spur gear to get some more speed out of this piglet. So, or 4S power, but I think it's 3,800 kV motor. It should do some pretty good smoking with these big 6-inch tires. So that's pretty much it. She's set up. Oh, let's do endpoint adjustments. Jump into your menu, head to, well, first of all, sub trim. But since we've dialed this guy, yeah, I can go a little bit of sub trim. So we'll go sub trim, come down here, click the steering, and then you wanna, I want to go right just a very little bit. No. Actually, hang on. I need to reverse the steering first. It's backwards before we do anything. Okay, so that should be the right direction now. You never want to crank your servo all the way over until you've got your sub trims and your endpoint set up. That pretty much straightens her out. We're straight across the axles. And then you want to do your endpoint adjustment or your travel, EPA, all that fun stuff they call it, endpoint adjustment. So pretty much with these style rating, you just highlight that box there and you just bring the steering all the way pretty much to the end. You don't want to go to the end if it's going to damage something and overextend and twist everything up. You can kind of start going that way, and then you can start just rolling the knob down and bringing that down until where you can tap it out all the way and the servo's no longer tapping out. There, you can see it's... So this is just setting up like our safety points. We're not gonna overpower and break anything on the servo and rip the servo out of the truck, or rip the servo out of the truck. Once we get these big tires on, we ain't gonna be able to turn that tight. It's gonna be hitting on here, so we'll choke that down even more. I'm just showing you guys how to do a basic setup on that, so when you're messing with the truck on the bench, you're not gonna overextend, rip a servo arm, strip a horn, break something in here or whatever. You know, this is all Vanquish. You ain't gonna break nothing in here, trust me on that. I'm just talking more if you're still running plastic and stuff like that. You definitely wanna have that set up. So at this point, we're ready to put the box cover on the top. Let's bomb these tires on it. Right now we're running the truck on a 3S 5000 LiPo. Our ESC and motor is capable of 6S. We could throw 2 of these bad boys in here and just completely destroy everything in it. But really, I think with all the work we've done, it would take it. So the ring and pinion are still stock, though. It would explode pretty quickly, but having the open diffs might save it. Just blow the tire, spinning tires in the air, it'll be... Sounds powerful. I gotta turn that drag brake down. It's gonna be real fast. That thing's gonna be a handful. Let's check out the boots. Are they hitting? Oh yeah, look at that. Mush, mush, mush right in there. That's a Reefs 444 servo up in there. You can hear whispering to her magic, slinging those big tires around like nothing. Get your hands on some of that. Reefs get the finest products out there. They don't pay us to say that. We're just giving you our input, where to spend your hard-earned money. I even had a problem with one, and they said, no problem, we got you. They don't know me from a hole in the ground. They don't know we have a YouTube channel. We don't tell anybody. We don't want nothing from nobody, so we don't tell anybody. Simple enough. Well, we don't go asking. People want to send us stuff, no problem. But we don't be like, hey, I'm with ProNoobRC and my servo broke. Can you send me a new one? We don't play that card because that's clowning. Okay, we got to get Freddy done. His exhaust pipe's done. But for now, we can call this done. Let's get the full image going on here.
Yeah. Sweet looking truck, man.
Yeah, that's pretty beastie. Very happy. Love the stance on that. Freddy's gonna look good sitting inside there. He's a nice scale for the truck. I I gotta get his hat on there, or glue his hat on there, leaning forward so he looks like he's about to go in a fist fight with somebody. And we're gonna bend up a chair of a piece of aluminum. That's gonna come up in another part of the video, the finishing, the detailing, throwing him in there, doing our exhaust stacks, all that fun stuff. We might actually get a sound unit for them. Sound unit's pretty cool in monster trucks. So, yeah, she's sitting nice. That's gonna be a dope rig. Very happy. Very happy with that. Looking good.
Show and shine worthy, baby.
Oh yeah, she mean mugging. Beautiful stance to it. Let's check it out beside the LMT. Who do you guys want to see? Gravedigger or Son of a Digger? You know what? We never pull Son of a Digger out of the bench, so. Pretty decent, sitting, actually the SMT's got a little bit longer wheelbase. About, almost 3/4 of an inch longer. Yeah, center line's here to here, almost 3/4 of an inch difference. We'll call it ½ inch to be fair.
Yeah.
Wider, lower, longer, faster. This guy's only 4S capable, this bad boy 6S capable. We have 3, 4, and 6S batteries. 5S batteries don't work for us. For some reason, we get them and they just go in the garbage. They don't never work. It's like witchcraft trying to get a 5S battery to work around here. So, well, somebody's got more suspension, that's for sure. But yeah, this guy's going to be really fun. We'll get some good running with this guy. We'd like to cut the end of this video with some footage outdoors, but in sake of getting the video out to you guys, it's midnight here. It's dark, obviously it's midnight, so that doesn't need explained, but we ain't gonna get no runtime on this video with this truck right now. We're just gonna get this to you right now, what it looks like, the build, and then the next time will be some, tomorrow morning we'll film some runtime video, and then coming over the next week, we're gonna do the Freddy fingered exhaust pipes, the chair, the dash, the steering wheel. We're gonna hide the ESC and everything inside, give it a really nice scale monster truck interior, just with some styrene crap banging around, anything you guys can just slap together at home too. So we like to keep it cheap, keep it simple. Hey, it's getting easier. Thanks for hanging out on this build, you guys. Stay tuned for some updates on Freddy and detail work and stuff like that. But the build's done as far as I'm concerned for the truck. Yeah, for the truck. Now it's just time for detail work. See you guys back next week. Cheers. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the next one. Big shout out to everybody, all the companies that made this project come together, and my bank account for paying for everything. Big thanks to that one. It's a good one. Yeah. So yeah, we'll catch you guys back here very soon. I like it.